come and invite you. So the only thing is that I don't have candles for like part of the child dedication. We don't have them actually lit. Not inclusive. So foods are.
Yeah, and we're all like, that's a pretty cool. No, that's not like.
Yeah, and you can just, yeah, that's what it's Oh, yeah.
Hey, y'all.
This is a more diversified crowd, in my opinion.
Well, I guess I'm gonna.
Because they're going to call it
Mothers of courage and fathers of time, we are
Good morning, and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Spokane. We're glad to have you with us. UUCS is a very welcoming congregation, and we appreciate your unique background, beliefs, and lifestyle. If you're one of our longtime members, have been here a short time, are joining us today for the first time, or joining us via the streaming service, we're delighted to have you with us. Welcome to everyone. Before we move into our greeting of one another, I have a few short announcements to share with you. The first is a bit of a logistical one. This morning is unique in that it is one of our annual multi-generational services. The nursery remains open to children up to about 3 years old, but there's no children's chapel this morning. Community members of all ages are invited to stay here in the sanctuary to participate in the important rituals we will be doing together. So that we can all be a part of this service, you will notice that there are coloring materials distributed throughout the sanctuary. Anyone is welcome to make use of the fidget materials at the children's table at the back of the sanctuary. We have also distributed picture orders of service so that everyone can follow along and see what's coming. I invite families with young children to come and sit near the front so that your children can see and follow along with all the action. On to other announcements. Our annual meeting is today after the second service. There will be a light lunch and childcare provided. We hope you will stick around to participate in the living out of democracy in our own community, and also because we need 15% of members in attendance to reach a voting quorum. You can find more details about bylaw changes and our budget at the table in the back of the Friendship Hall. The intern committee has asked that we let you know that they are putting together a memory book for Isabel. It is on a back table in the Friendship Hall, and they are asking that we, the members of this congregation, sign it, write down memories of Isabel, and even add photos. It will be there available for you to add to until Isabel's last service with us on June 16th. Finally, you will notice that, as is the tradition in this congregation, our unity candle is lit this morning in honor of Daryl Solons, who passed away earlier this week. Now, please take a moment to meet and greet those around you. Please make a special effort to say hello to someone you haven't met before.
Yeah. Getting to it. Thank you. We'll have more time to greet one another and share our stories during our social hour after the service, which, as always, includes not only great coffee, but zealous coffee and exuberant conversation. We now turn from our warm and informal greeting of one another to formally begin our service by lighting our chalice. The symbol of Unitarian Universalism, the symbol of unity and solidarity, of our openness and inclusion, of our community and individual uniqueness. May this small flame be our offering of warmth to those who are cold and alone, and a light to those in darkness. May it be a flame that ignites justice in our world and be a beacon of hope to those in need. May it reflect at least a spark of truth wherever truth is lost, and cast a healthy shadow of doubt wherever truth has been found.
The most beautiful experience we can have is the mysterious. It is the fundamental emotion which stands at the cradle of true art and true science. Whoever does not know it and can no longer wonder, no longer marvel, is as good as dead, and his eyes are dimmed. It was the experience of mystery, even if mixed with fear, that engendered religion, a knowledge of the existence of something we cannot penetrate, our perceptions of the profoundest reason and the most radiant beauty, which only in their most primitive forms are accessible to our minds. It is this knowledge and this emotion that constitute true religiosity. In this sense, and in this alone, I am a deeply religious man. This is by Albert Einstein, by the way. I'm not a man. I cannot conceive of a God who rewards and punishes his creatures, or has a will of the kind that we experience in ourselves. Neither can I, nor would I, want to conceive of an individual that survives his physical death. Let feeble souls from fear or absurd egoism cherish such thoughts. I am satisfied with the mystery of the eternity of life, and with the awareness and a glimpse of the marvelous structure of the existing world, together with the devoted striving to comprehend a portion, be it ever so tiny, of the reason that manifests itself in nature.
Just a note to start, all the service music inside this service was chosen by our bridging seniors today. And of course, they did choose one that we all love a lot, Blue Boat Home, number 1064. So please rise in body or spirit. Oh, below me I feel no motion, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean. Still my drive and heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now. Never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. Sun, my sail, and moon, my rudder, as on by the starry sea, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep, drifting here with my ship's companion.
I would like to invite Deb and Todd forward for our child dedication ceremony. This morning, we gather together with a bit of a different purpose than usual. This morning, we gather together to witness and participate in rites of passage, moments which we set apart to recognize the important changes in the life of our congregation and celebrate new stages of life with diverse meanings.
This morning, we welcome new life into our congregation.
It takes a Unitarian village to raise a Unitarian Universalist child. It is important for our children to know that they are cared for, to know that they are part of a larger family, and an important part of a bigger human picture.
It is important for our children to believe in themselves, to trust in themselves, to know that they can make a difference.
It is important for our children to believe in them. Let me see, here we go. It's important for our children to know Unitarian Universalist principles, to find ways to live them in their daily lives, and to realize that the choices they make are important.
It is important for our children to explore religious truth and meaning in all the world religions, and to know that ours is a religion worth having.
It is important for our children to experience the spirit of life, to feel a sense of awe at the grandeur of the world, and to live lives of empathy and compassion.
This morning we rejoice in the promise and hope of every child, and we pledge to promise their welfare and the welfare of all our children to the end that they might grow in beauty, truth, and love.
Would Fel, Isabel, and Beatrix and their families please come forward? Lean in, Dad. We're reading this together. That's what the instructions say. This is water.
Imaginary water.
May you always find your thirst quenched. May you know the joy of hard work. May your tears be cared for. May you dance in rain and jump in pools and puddles. You are water.
This is air.
May your lungs be full of fresh, sweet air. May you know the joy of a good laugh. May you find your voice through song, whispers, and shrieks. May you have life full of scents, breezes, and sighs. You are air.
This is fire.
May it remind you of the divine spark of all creation that is in you. May it inspire your commitment for love and justice. May you be kept warm by the community around you. May all your days be bright. You are fire. They're each getting a candle to take home and light on some special occasion with their family when they decide the timing is right.
This is a flower made from the earth. May you know beauty. May you know that the earth provides all you need. May everywhere you go be blessed by your presence. May all your work be a blessing to the world. May all you do bring joy to the world. You are the earth. Please pull out your gold insert for our responsive reading and turn to the side which says Child Dedication. We welcome you among us. We will teach you and learn from you.
We will love you and respect you.
We give thanks for your life and for the new hope you bring. We will delight in your accomplishments. We will share in your sorrows. We will encourage you in every way as you grow into adulthood. And whatever may come to you, whether misfortune, affliction, or wrongdoing, we promise never to close our hearts against you.
We dedicate ourselves to do all that we can to provide you with goods so that you may feel safe and wings so that you may fly. We will strive to share with you the beauty and the goodness of life.
We will support you and your family through all the experiences of life. You may be seated.
We now gratefully give and receive this morning's offering, which sustains this community and its mission to the larger world.
My blood doth rise in the roots of yon oak, her sap doth run in my veins. Boundless my soul like the open sky, where the stars forever have lain. Where the stars, where the stars, where the stars forever have lain. My hands hold the weavings of time without end. My sight as deep as the sea. Beating my heart sounds the measures of old, that of love's eternity. That of love, that of love, that of love's eternity. I feel the tides as they answer the moon, rushing on a far distant sand. Winging my song is the wind of my breast, and my love blows over the land. And my love, and my love, and my love blows over the land. My foot carries days of the old into new. Our dreaming shows us the way. Wondrous our faith settles deep in the earth, rising green to bring a new day. Rising green, rising green, rising green to bring a new day.
In addition to celebrating new life in our congregation, this morning we are honoring youth who, as they emerge into young adulthood. As is the custom in this congregation, I have asked these youth to write about how Unitarian Universalism has affected their lives thus far, as well as their hopes and dreams for themselves, Unitarian Universalism, and for this congregation. They will be sharing what they have written with you throughout the remainder of the service, beginning now with Blue Palmer. Y'all are gonna miss me. Or at least, like, you better. I'm a pillar of this establishment. I watch your kids, I caffeinate you, sometimes more effectively than others. I would actually like to use this opportunity to once again apologize for breaking the coffee machine at Camp Starwheel that one time. I feel like I really got to know a side of the congregation you don't often show to people. But in my defense, I never should have been given that responsibility. It's somewhat remarkable just how much of my life revolves around this church and this congregation. You know, I've been coming here pretty regularly for 10 years, which to some of you doesn't seem that long, but for me that's the majority of my life. And it's like 2.5 ministers worth of it, this church, you know, that's significant. So I got the full UU upbringing experience, you know, with that weird Roy G. Biv 7 Principles Sound of Music thing and all. And I think our tradition is somewhat unique in that we teach children to question things, to doubt, to challenge authority, to demand an explanation, and then we're like, sing this bizarrely oversimplified version of our most fundamental beliefs and then discuss why you think this provided statement isn't correct. That shit ain't gonna fly. But it was actually in RE that I first developed my life motto, which is, reject the prompt. As life mottos goes, it's done absolutely nothing for me, but boy do I stick to it. The same is not true for this congregation, however, seamless transition. For, you know, although I stick to it, you have done quite a great deal for me. I mean, I got to go to Transylvania, which was really remarkable. I think it's sometimes easy to forget that this is a religion and, you know, we're in a church and that we have traditions and history. I mean, sure, there's the set of core beliefs, but okay, raise your hand and be totally honest if you think you could recite all of the 7 principles. Go, Cindy! You know, or the sources, the jagged rocks and or smooth stones. See, the thing is, we all generally agree on a few key things, and that's enough to bring us together, but it doesn't always feel like enough to really count as a religion. You know, and I suspect there are a few of us here that would feel comfortable telling someone we were religious without some lengthy disclaimer. But it's not so in Felshiracos, or, you know, at the Fortress of Deva, where Francis David was imprisoned and eventually died, or in Torda, where King Sigismund signed the Edict of Torda, or in any of the other, probably around 80,000 churches and places of religious significance we visited in our pilgrimage to the Unitarian Holy Land. But our church does have a very rich history, and I'm very grateful for the opportunity to connect with that history, so thank you. You know, of course, we've sort of distanced ourselves from the more overtly Christian and God-oriented beliefs of the continental UUs, or just U's rather, because they never fused with the Universalists. Side note, I have no idea what Universalism is. Like, I have no idea. Couldn't tell you anything about it. Got one of the U's down, though, so that seems good enough. But that very fundamental humanistic origins of Unitarian theology is still very much a part of this church and very important to this church, and indeed, you know, to my personal beliefs. The Unitarian notion that Jesus was not the literal Son of God, not inherently more holy than any other son of man, but that he was able to achieve that greatness in spite of, or even because of his humanness, remains even in the absence of a belief in God. And so my faith lies not in a deity, but in people, in humanity's ability to better itself, in the possibility of a Star Trek future. And to be clear, I'm talking like Star Trek Voyager, not that driveling, pustulous heap of mechanic uniforms that was Star Trek Enterprise. But as a human, and I am human, I find that quite comforting. You know, we can look back at the history of the human race and see just how far we've come. I mean, like, remember the Spanish Inquisition? Some of you might. You know, at some point in history, the plowshare was hot stuff. And I can look back at my history and see how far I've come. And I have faith. I'm going to be all right. I think the world's going to be okay eventually. It might take a while, but we'll get there. Dear God, I hope we'll get there. We can try, to be just, to be Christ-like, be human. It would be much easier if we had free will, though, you know what I mean? Like, sometimes I'm just like, curse the inevitability of my being and the unbroken chain of cause and effect that connects me to all there ever was or will be. Just let me be less than the sum of my parts. It's definitely daunting to be facing a future so radically different from everything I've ever known. But, everyone else has been doing it every day for the last, 200,000 years or so, so I think I can probably manage. And I think I'm ready. As a kid, I used to think adults were useless idiots who had absolutely no idea what they were doing, and I was totally right. Yay! And now I guess I am one, or at least I certainly don't have any idea what I'm doing, which feels very adult. So thank you for turning me into a useless idiot. This church has fundamentally shaped the way I view the world, the person that I am, and I like to think that my being here has shaped the way this church views the world. I don't really know how it has, but I bet I've left a mark. Marks, some of them literal. Sorry about that. All right, I think that's it. Let's go do this future thing. I want to work in Starfleet. Each time we gather as a congregation, there are always those who are with us in our minds and hearts and who we want to wrap in our love and care. We kindle light this morning for them.
We light a candle this morning in celebration for Tracy Springberry, who was just called to be the minister at West Hills UU Church in Portland. She has been serving as their minister for 2 years. Tracy was a member of this church for many years, was ordained here, and was consulting minister of children and family ministry. We also kindle a candle this morning for church member Dan Egret, whose wife Wendy passed away on Monday. A celebration of her life will be held at St. Mark's Lutheran Church at 3 p.m. on June 21st.
Okay. Ann, Scott, and Bill had a busy month of May for celebrating the birth of their first grandchild, Weston, on Mother's Day. 10 days later, sadly, Bill's mom of 94 passed away with all of her family around her.
Let us share a moment in silence, embracing others who are here in our hearts this morning. You are welcome to say their names aloud as you are willing.
Those named aloud and those remembered in the silence, and all those who are suffering elsewhere in our world this hour, we hold in our community of compassion.
In the words of one of my favorite modern philosophers, Alan Watts, one is a great deal less anxious if one feels perfectly free to be anxious. And the same may be said of guilt, because to remain stable is to refrain from trying to separate yourself from a pain because you know that you cannot. Running away from fear is fear. Fighting pain is pain. And trying to be brave is being scared. If the mind is in pain, the mind is pain. The thinker has no other form than his thought. So there is no escape. But if you can come to accept it, it becomes altogether much more bearable. I have to admit to you all, I am rather resentful about being born. Because just like that, I was forced into existence against my will. And for a very long time after, like a fool, I pointed my finger at the personification of life and said, "Help! He's oppressing me. I'm being oppressed. You see that? He's oppressing me." And that altogether was very painful for me. But now that I'm here, and I realize, well, I am being oppressed by life, and I have been forced to existence, I don't want to feel that I've wasted my time here. And being a rather disorganized individual, I believe that this might prove rather challenging for me. So I was thinking just the other night about what I would truly want to do with myself for the rest of my years, just in order to feel some semblance of meaning. So I asked the question with the premise of money would be no object. In other words, what do I want? If I had a genie in a bottle, what would I wish for? At first I answered naively, said to myself that I would like a beautiful spouse that would never age, and a car that always has gas, and a bag of Lay's potato chips that is full of at least more than 25% potato chips, essentially theorizing that I wished to control everything. But ask yourself, if you had everything that you ever wanted, you never had to wait in lines, never had anyone disrespect you in any way, would you be happy? Personally, I would be bored out of my mind. See, I think that it's the unpredictability of life that is what makes us feel meaning. So as it turns out that I don't want everything that I ever wanted. As it turns out, complete power and control isn't what I, and I'm assuming most of you, would want. We want life to be full of surprises, but the fact is that along with the good surprises must come the unpleasant ones. So it seems to me that in order to feel some semblance of significance and happiness, I must rid myself of the expectations of where I am to end up. So I ask myself again, what do I want? At this point, the answer is simple enough. Just, I have no idea. Don't know what I want. So, at this point, I've gone through approximately 3 stages of not knowing. First, I asked myself what I wanted, because I hadn't really thought about it before, at least not in great detail. Second, I thought that I wanted to control everything, realized that that's not at all what I want. And now I am totally in bliss because I have no idea what I want. I think that there's 2 explanations for why this could be. Either because I already have it, and the only thing keeping me from being content is my constant search for more, or because I don't know myself well enough to know what I want. And perhaps that's because I can't. Because just as a fire doesn't burn, rather it's the object on fire that is burning, I can't know who I really am. I just simply am here and existing. Let me tell you, this sort of humility is quite liberating. When we as mortal humans try to behave as if we are God, or wish for godhood, we become only frustrated because it is unattainable. So what can I do with this information? Well, now that I know this, it has become my first priority to enjoy myself here in this life. Because I don't think that life is a journey. It is a dance with the universe. Because when we set out on a journey, our goal is to reach a destination. But because I don't know or even want to know where I will end up, it's not a journey. Rather, it's a dance, because when we dance, the goal is not to reach a certain spot on the dance floor. The goal is to feel the music in our bodies and enjoy ourselves. The change of location is simply a byproduct of the goal of dancing. So if we apply this principle to our lives, it becomes clear that the nameless fellow who is completely content with his life as it is is much more successful than the narcissistic jerk who is completely unhappy and yet is a billionaire and the youngest CEO of a major corporation. So, I hereby state, I will have fun in my life, because I think that the true enemy of ourselves is taking too seriously what God made just for us to have fun with. Thank you.
As we celebrate the growth of our children and youth this morning, one of the transitions we are pinpointing to this moment is the ownership that our bridging youth are taking over their lives. Though this congregation may remain in partnership for religious exploration with these youth, Angel, Jordan, and Blue are now taking charge of their spiritual and religious development. It is theirs to own, theirs to seek out, and theirs to drive. With that in mind, I have a bit of a high-energy exercise that I'd like to share with you now, which comes to us from Sarah Green, which will embody that ownership over oneself. So please rise and embody your spirit. This is an activity that you can totally do sitting down if that's more comfortable, but sitting or standing, find a way to settle in your body. Firmly plant your feet on the ground and repeat after me. See this hand?
See this hand?
This is my hand.
This is my hand.
It ain't your hand.
It ain't your hand.
It's my hand.
It's my hand.
You see this nose?
See this nose?
It's my nose.
My nose.
It ain't your nose.
It ain't your nose.
It's my nose.
My nose.
See this elbow?
See this elbow?
It's my elbow.
It's my elbow.
It ain't your elbow.
It ain't your elbow.
It's my elbow.
My elbow.
See this body?
See this body?
This is my body.
This is my body.
It ain't your body.
It ain't your body.
This is my body.
This is my body.
All right. Thank you for indulging me. You may be seated. I'll pick up one second.
My hopes and dreams for myself is to have a good life with a good home for myself and making sure to take good care of myself. On June 10th, I'm really hoping that day that I'm going to be getting an apartment of my own, so I'm going to be moving out, away from my parents. Which, am I scared out of my mind? Yes. It's not only out of my safety zone, but I'm going to be pushed into the real world with not really knowing much, I should say. But do I think I'll survive? Yes. I have support to help me. And I know that if I need anything, that I have people who I can call and that will help me in this congregation. I feel like I'll do okay in the end, better than okay. This church has impacted my life because not only I know more of what's going on, even though I took a class that talks about the current world issues, but I know more of opinions. Like, I know everybody has their opinion about this whole Trump thing and stuff, but like, I know what most of you guys think about this whole thing that's just going on, and it's just really amazing. and cool. The most thing that I love that this church has impacted my life is I feel very comfortable. Like I never would have done this like 2 years ago, a year ago, maybe 3. Because I was always just in my shell, but I feel comfortable talking in front of all you guys. I feel that I can say what I need to, or, speak my mind and you won't judge, which is pretty awesome to be here. I appreciate everyone here for accepting me and welcoming me to this church, and for being understanding and kind and welcoming. Thank you.
And it was especially Angel's idea that we sing this next song, and this song embodies what we can all do for each other, and certainly what we can do for our bridging seniors. So please stand in body or spirit to sing "Lean on Me," number 1021, and get ready to clap your hands and do a little moving around. Okay, 2, 3, 4.
I will once again invite Deb and Todd forward for our bridging rite of passage. Today, we honor the youth among us, you who are stepping beyond and away and toward, Today we share in your journey and encourage your discovery.
Some of you were brought to a Unitarian Universalist church to be dedicated and named. At that ceremony, we gave thanks for the miracle of your new life. Your parents affirmed their sacred responsibility to you. We rejoiced in the promise and hope of every child, and the congregation pledged to promote your welfare and the welfare of all our children to the end that they might grow in beauty, truth, and love. To that ceremony this morning, we add this rite of passage.
This rite of passage marks a point in your much longer transition into adulthood.
This new phase in your life comes with exciting possibilities as well as new responsibilities.
Would you, the Bridging Youth, please step forward, along with any family and friends that you have with you today. And as they come forward, please take out your blue service insert in preparation for a responsive reading a little later on.
Today, we celebrate you, all that you are, all that you have been, and all that you will be.
Today, we offer you a rose. As in the child dedication ceremony, this rose is a symbol of life and love. But this rose has thorns. We can no longer protect you, nor is it our job anymore. You have the tools to go out into the world and take care of yourself. This rose is also in bloom, while you will continue to grow throughout your life in many ways, and you are the person you will be, and we are so very proud of you.
Today we offer you a resource. When you need the wisdom of those who have come before, may this book of poems, readings, and hymns from our Unitarian Universalist tradition speak to your heart and soul and move with you throughout your days.
Today, we offer you a chalice of your very own. With this chalice, you carry with you the symbol of our faith, the symbol of our unity and solidarity, of our openness and inclusion, of our community and individual uniqueness. As you carry this flame with you, may it offer you warmth and light. May it ignite the spirit of justice in your heart and serve as a beacon of hope. May it speak truth when truth has been lost and cast a healthy shadow of doubt wherever truth has been found. It takes a Unitarian Universalist village to raise a Unitarian Universalist child. Let's celebrate that village for a moment. If you have ever led any of these youth in religious education classes, please rise and embody your spirit. If you have led at least one of their Our Whole Lives classes, please rise and embody your spirit. If you have led their youth group, please rise. If you have ever helped them build or raced them in a cardboard boat race, please rise. If you or your children were ever taken care of during a parent night out or any event by any of these youth, please rise. If you are friends of or have ever been mentored in some way by any of these youth, please rise. If you have known and cared for any of these youth, please rise. It takes a Unitarian Universalist village to raise a Unitarian Universalist child. This village can no longer take charge of your religious development. That is up to you now. But we know that each of you are equipped with the curiosity, compassion, and drive to engage with your continued search for truth and meaning throughout the rest of your lives. Today, we applaud you for all you have been, for all you are now, for all you will be.
Today Today you cross this bridge, your time is now. Be patient and hopeful. Today we welcome your energy and offer you a safe place to grow. Come live, breathe, thrive, and rejoice.
As we close this ceremony, I'd like to take a moment to also honor the graduating youth who could not be with us this morning. They are Bree Gardner, Mike Petro, and Rachel Boos. Now, I invite you all to rise, embody your spirit, to turn inward, and raise our hands in a bridge. That our youth can pass through into the next phase of their life.
We close the ceremony now. Please join hands and sing Shalom Haverim.